What is up, everybody? Today we are doing a quick video on the Kabar TDI knife, as well as it compares to a variety of self-defense knife options. First of all, I'd like to just apologize in advance. I'm battling some allergies, so there's some sniffles on the audio, I definitely want to apologize for that, but I hope this video is still useful. So let's get into it. So today's video is mainly on the Kabar TDI knife. This is a knife that I've actually been coveting for a long time. I've always seen it as like an awesome, just, de facto self-defense option. I know it's really popular in the law enforcement community, a little bit more in the military community, but definitely in the law enforcement community, mainly because it's designed to sort of sit on your belt, even sit behind your belt, and actually be very similar to the draw stroke of a pistol, where you can pull this out and you immediately have something that sort of helps you separate from a potential attacker or assailant. I think like the thing that shocked me the most in terms of the first impressions was just how ergonomic and palm filling this particular knife is. I mean, when it sits in your belt or when it's sitting wherever you decide to mount it, the ergonomics of this is just so different than like anything else. Like, let's say like a flipper, for instance. The flippers are great, knives are great. Even just like my full tang survival knives just don't feel as good and as ergonomic and really as secure as this knife does. And I think a big component of that is the angle, number one, which is like that sort of like swoop bellied angle. The little bit of the belly filling, that palm filling handle on this, the jimping, there's a little bit of jimping really here on the angle. I just feel super secure, and it doesn't feel like it'll come out. What's also interesting is if you take a look at this, you can kind of see like this is almost directly in line with my forearm, and so the amount of potential force that could come from this knife is just absolutely incredible. And I think it's just, a phenomenal knife. It definitely serves its purpose. If there was, any potential situation where I felt like I needed a knife, having this knife in my hand, I would definitely feel very secure and very confident in my abilities to use this knife in a self-defense situation, really over any other knife that really fits this mold. And you could take a look at a couple other options that I have here. I have a couple of videos on them, whether it's like the SOG Snarl, I have a video on that. You can see that there's a lot of different potential options, but this Kabar TDI knife specifically is phenomenal. So I definitely love the knife by itself. Here's what I don't like. What I don't like is the fact that there isn't an active retention component to this sheath. And I'll tell you why I don't like that. The reason, like, let's just talk about the purpose for this knife. The reason that this knife exists is it exists on a battle belt. It exists on a, let's say, law enforcement belt as a last ditch effort. Let's say you're too close to grab your gun. It's going to end up being a scuffle. You want to go and reach for this and be able to gain some separation so you can transition to your primary weapon. I think that's the philosophy of use for this particular knife. Now, the problem with that is you're going to assume, hey, if I'm in close quarters and I can reach for my knife, the assailant, the attacker, can also reach for this knife. And in fact, there have been anecdotal stories, and in fact, a couple stories of these knives actually being pulled away from the person wearing it. So you can imagine this is sitting on your belt line. It's visible. It's a pretty big knife. It's sitting on your belt line, and you're in a scuffle, and let's say you're both swimming for underhooks or whatever that may be. I could definitely see someone grabbing this knife and using it against you. And so when I grabbed this knife and I was wearing it, that was really my concern. I'm like, man, like for a philosophy of use, the reason I'm using this knife is because the person is too close to draw my firearm. I worry that this knife would be used against me. And so, to be honest, I stopped wearing it. I actually, put this away, and I've been like actively looking for a sheath that has an active retention component to it, because I don't want this knife being, drawn on me. And it's essentially why I've transitioned to being to neck knives, particularly the Kabar TDI bite. This sits under my shirt. It's not visible. It allows me to reach up underneath and deploy it. And it's much smaller, but it's like it does the same exact purpose of this, which is to gain separation, to separate from the attacker, and allows me to get to my primary firearm. And so I've since transitioned to this, which is a smaller knife. It's essentially just a poker. You know, you're not going to slash anything, but I still use it for Amazon boxes and, you know, things that I would be using knives anyway. What I don't like about this is the fact that, you know, it doesn't have the same, you know, beautiful ergonomics. You know, I kind of have to like squeeze my finger under this. It's an awkward draw stroke angle. As well as, you know, being a neck knife, you know, I worry like, hey, like it's underneath. I worry when I pull it out, I'm actually going to, you know, scrape myself or cut my shirt. And so I really do wish, like, this would have been perfect if it would have had an active retention component. So I've been actively looking for a sheath here that would give me that active retention component. Another option, I have a video on this if you want to look through my channel, the SOG Snorrel. I like this because it's got the finger hoop, which definitely gives you a lot more security and a lot more confidence that this knife can be used in the way you want. It's just a little too big. You know, I think it's, you know, for a neck knife, it's a little big for a neck knife for me personally. And I'm not a huge fan of this sheath. It's a little awkward to get it back in. Also, it's just, you know, the deployment in general is a little awkward, but it's not terrible. This is actually not a bad option. So if you're kind of, you know, in the same boat as me and we're looking for a neck knife, this is actually not a bad option. And, you know, I do like the neck knife self-defense knives more than, let's say, the potential of like a flipper. You know, the reason being is like flippers, they take up a pocket the way that I wear them. You know, it's not terrible. You know, I know that this is like a really, you know, the folding knife is always a good EDC option. I don't know, for some reason, I've just never been able to like consistently carry it as an EDC. And so I've tried other options to more EDC a blade. One thing that I've used, and I typically put something like this in my coin pocket because I like the fact that it has a bottle opener. And this is essentially, you know, it's been a while since I've used this. So I think I forgot how to use it. Let me actually think, how do you get this thing out again? You're gonna see me, oh, there you go. So you pull up on this. So this is a two-handed deployment. So basically this is like a spring-loaded latch. So this little button here, it's a spring-loaded latch, and you lift it up and it basically catches on these little teeth here on the particular blade. And so you basically have like a little box cutter, but as you can see, it's a two-handed deployment. So this is really truly a box cutter. So if you're just using this for Amazon packages, great. You're not gonna use this as a self-defense option. So I kind of scrapped that. One other option, this is sort of my EDC package, is, you know, this little Kershaw. I mean, this is definitely just a box cutter. I do like that it's one-handed deployment. It is like a little mini folder. And you know what? I actually use this bottle opener, little handy bottle opener, a lot more frequently than you would expect. And then the last is like, hey, like, you know, if none of these work for you, you could definitely go with just a tactical pen option, which is, you know, I have a video on this, look through my channel. This Gerber tactical knife, I love it. Tactical pen, I love it. It's great. It's another great option. This is really more of my travel option. So if I'm going someplace where a blade is not legal, the tactical pen is definitely an option for you. So that's pretty much it. You know, Kabar TDI, it's phenomenal. I mean, I definitely think it's got its purpose. I'm looking for that purpose, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's, you know, something a little more hidden. It's a phenomenal knife. I love the ergonomics of it. I love the functionality and the utility of it. I just worry. I worry about the sheath. I worry about the philosophy of use. And I'm still looking for, hey, how I'm going to use this knife. But I'm definitely glad I have it. I just need to figure out, hey, like what is going to be the functionality for this particular knife. Hopefully, if I can find a sheath for it, I think like that would end up solving that problem. So hope this video is helpful. Hopefully it helps you decide whether or not the Kabar TDI knife is for you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on all of these. And if you have another option that you really, really like, because I'm always on the hunt and always looking for potential options in this space. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.